Uh,
Oh
int-
man,
interested to
another
see.
show, another day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Interested to see these comments, bro. I know people losing their
Hey man, they was
mind.
going in. They was going in last show, but we love it. We love it.
I
We love
know,
it.
man. Hey, man.
We
And we
love it,
welcome
man.
all fans, bro. We ain't tripping. That's
Yes
hilarious.
sir. Yes sir, man. But yeah, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification, all that good stuff, man. Hey man, look at the screen, man. Just look at the screen. You ain't got to hear what I got to say, but just read what I got to say, and then boom, point you in the right
Yes, sir.
direction. It's that time,
Unless
bro.
you read like a boy from the Chiefs,
From the Chiefs.
then you can't read it all. What's the
Damn.
at the
All right.
draft?
All right, y'all. We're not gonna keep y'all waiting.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Hit the edge 30, 35, 40. Midfield, McMahon lifts a tackle. He's gone! 10, 5, touchdown! Raiders!
2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
I'm with the homie.
What's good? What's good?
Yeah, what's good?
What's going on, man? Hey, man, another show, another day, another collab. Big Mike will not be joining us this show, man. He's out. He's on vacation, man. Just to say that, man. He's on vacation, man.
Yeah, man. I told Big Mike, man. Big Mike actually dropped a little short video today. So if y'all haven't checked that out, man, go over there and check it out, man. And you see
Yes,
Big
sir.
Mike is on like a beautiful resort. You see a beautiful view behind him, man. I told Big Mike he's living like J. Cole after avoiding his beef, man.
He's
out
living
here
his
living
best life,
beautifully
man.
right now,
Drama
man.
free,
Living beautifully.
man. I think Drake would probably be
Man.
wanting that right now at this moment in time. But That's a whole different. Drake, man, I gotta get that, bro. Keep saying there's so much I gotta get some Bay Area stuff. I gotta get some. There's so much stuff that I gotta get, man. But that being said, hey man, how you doing, bro? How's everything going with you?
Oh man, I'm doing wonderfully, man. Doing wonderfully, man. Excited. You know. Anytime we talk football, man. Anytime we talk about this team, man. The team I grew up loving. Hey, it's always a great day for me, man. How about yourself, man? How's everything up there?
Pretty good, man. Everything's good on my end. I'm just, I'm just plotting. That's what I'm doing. No, I'm playing. Nah, man, I'm working on a few things, man. Hey, I was gonna tell you too, man. Hey, are you gonna be going to the Bakersfield event that's going on? I mean, I don't know if you do know too much about it, but I was trying to see, man. I don't know. It might be a little bit of drive for me, but I'm trying to think like that might be the move, man. Possibly might be the move.
Yeah, when is it?
I think it's May 11th, so I believe that's this Saturday. So
Saturday.
Yeah, I know it's kind of close. Cause I just like kind of like I knew about it, but then I didn't know it was gonna be on May 11th this week. So I'm gonna try to see what's up. I know it's gonna be a few people up there, especially some Raider content creators. You know what I mean? Like some Raider Nation, man. That's what's gonna be out there. Let's just keep it simple. That's
right, man.
So I believe it's an event. It's gonna be out in Bakersfield. They do this every year, I believe. So I'm trying to see if that's going to be the move. That being said, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? You're probably watching this on Severe Raiders channel. Make sure to like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well as my channel and Big Mike's channel too as well. So you're going to see this on all three channels. So make sure to like all the videos, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And then if we don't get to you in the chat, don't worry. Leave a comment. We do read comments. And we actually going to have comments of the week today. You know what I mean? We're keeping it going, man. That's the thing that we've been doing on the show. We're going to keep it going. Back from popular demand. It's at the end of the day, like, hey, we're going to go through comments. So don't be afraid to leave a comment and let us know your thoughts, because sometimes we miss things. So we want to make sure that we get it. And that's why we have comments of the week, so we can read them out and talk about it. But that being said, before we even get into the comments of the week, let's talk about the latest and greatest with the Raiders. And, Terrian Arnold to the Raiders. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the draft just happened, so we all know where he went to. He went to the Lions. He went to the Lions 20-something, I believe.
25th, I think. 25th, I believe, if I recall correctly.
Right. The corners, all you got to know is the corners dropped in the first round. Like, I was surprised how far they were dropped. There's mock drafts having them going at least in the top 15, top 16, whatever. But that obviously didn't happen. I think Kenyon Mitchell, your guy, he went like what? He went to the Eagles, pick number 22.
They took to the Eagles, man. Yeah.
He went to the Eagles. Man. Yeah. So, that was one of the big surprises in the first round. But, I guess you probably should expect that if you take 6 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks, that's what's going to happen. Like, players are going to drop, especially defense. Yeah. Especially the first defender didn't get take. It was a pass rusher, I believe. Was it Laube get drafted? Was he the first defensive player off the board, Laube?
Yeah,
Dallas Turner was supposed to go top 10, but he slid all the way to Minnesota at pick 17. Yeah. They traded up from pick 23. And I know we're talking about the draft like it was yesterday, but the reason why we're talking about it is Terrian Arnold, former cornerback of Alabama Crimson Tide. I think a lot of people's boards, he was the top 2 corner, if not the best corner in the draft. Like, he was up there for a lot of people. And he mentioned in a recent interview that the Raiders were a possibility, a huge possibility. After the draft, he gets a call from Antonio Pierce to let him know that, hey, look, it was a coin flip toss. It was out of It was between you and Brock Bowers. We all know what happened. Brock Bowers got drafted. But that would have been interesting if he got drafted. That would have been interesting if the Raiders drafted corner, a position of need that we were talking about. But is that necessarily the right player that you would have drafted? I mean, hindsight's 2020. I mean, like, a lot of teams had corner going a little bit earlier than how far they dropped in the draft. But, like, do you think Arnold would have been a good fit, a good pick at pick 13?
I think it would have been a good pick. I mean, everybody knows my cornerback one was Quinn Mitchell, but apparently Antonio Pierce called him. Antonio Pierce felt so strongly about him as a player and as a person that he wanted to reach out to him and let him know, hey, you know what? It was very close to us selecting. It's not like he called a plethora of other people and told them the same thing. Like, this is the only person that's being reported that he had those communications with. So obviously he felt strongly about him as a prospect. He might have even, maybe suggested to him that, if he was there, that the Raiders would take him. So maybe this is a situation where he was expecting to go to the Raiders and he's still on the board when the Raiders are picking and the Raiders don't draft him. And so, Antonio Pierce kind of probably felt bad. Hey, you know what? He thought he was coming here if he was going to be on the board. So he felt the need to reach out, which makes it, it's ironic because if we would have traded back, we could have still had the opportunity to take him and still add other picks. So it's, hindsight is 2020. Maybe the Raiders didn't feel he would drop that far, but that's just one of those. That's one of the reasons why I stress, if you have a position that's not necessarily of need and a very good prospect, you field those calls, man, and you have to know what the board is looking like for other teams, and if you can move back, you move back.
Yeah, no doubt. And it is what it is. I think the Raiders probably made the right decision in getting Brock Bowers. He's definitely a better player
Between those two.
out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, Brock Bowers a top 10, top 7 prospect. Now, can you argue the Raiders could have went with a way bigger need? For sure. You know what I mean? Was it a luxury pick? Probably yes. But can he possibly be an elite player at that position? There is potential that's there. And I think that's what's going to, for me, I've always said this. I'm going to continue to say this. If he turns out to be just a good player at that position, and then, we all know the draft is a crapshoot, right? If the players after him that were drafted and all were also good or top players at their position, and let's be honest, a lot of those positions that were drafted after the Raiders were like, offensive line, corner, other positions of need that the Raiders could have went to, and if they somehow, some way are able to be productive, then you took a luxury pick and there wasn't as big as an impact that another position would have gave you if you would have drafted, or at least traded back, whatever the case may be. Maybe trading back and getting Terrian Arnold might have been the right answer. That might have been a possibility. Or Keon Mitchell, or we've talked about this more than enough times, but I think in my opinion, I say everything to say that Brock Bowers was the right pick if it was down to Arnold and Bowers, in my opinion.
Yeah, between those two, I agree.
At pick 13, at pick 13,
13, yes. If it's at pick 13, no trades on the table. He's like, am I taking Terrian Arnold or am I taking Brock Bowers? In that situation, I'm taking Brock Bowers. Just because, like you said, I mean, even though, I mean, day one, I think Terrian Arnold probably makes a bigger impact for the right now, but I just think Brock Bowers is such a better prospect than Terrian Arnold that you kind of have to go with when it's that big of a gap. But Quinn Mitchell, I in my honest opinion, I think Quinn Mitchell is going to be a better player at corner than Brock Bowers is going to be at tight end. That's my opinion. I think Quinn Mitchell is going to be special. Like I think Quinn Mitchell he's special. I think he's a special player, man. I think he's going to make an instant impact, and I think especially on a team like that, especially a team with the Eagles, I think he's going to make an instant impact. But hey, we have who we have at this point, so you gotta make the best out of it.
No doubt, man. It is what it is. It's a big what if. I could hear it in the comments chat already, like, hey, that's fake. He's just calling them. just to tell him that, you know what I mean, just because he's probably talked to him throughout the process and you know. But in reality, that wasn't a big discussion but I don't know. AP doesn't come across a guy that like would just bullshit people. Like, you know, I could be wrong. I could be wrong at the end of the day, but he's pretty straightforward, maybe to a fault. Like it's you know, maybe we seen this entire offseason go by and we see like he's just, yeah, man, this is what we need. This is the guy we need. And, but you know, it is what it is, man. But in other news, Raiders are back to Cali. They back
man.
to SoCal. They back to SoCal, man. Costa Mesa. The Raiders were voted in last Tuesday. I think the city held a vote and they won 7-0 to approve the deal. Mm-hmm. And the rent is $165,000. You know, for the Raiders, that just pennies. But you know, that is crazy. You think they're overcharging? You think they're overcharging, or that sounds about right? You think they're overcharging?
That sounds about right for that space for that amount of time. It sounds about right.
Okay, because I'm trying to think. Like, man, I don't know if they would, if it was anybody else. I don't know if the rent would be as high, but you know, it is what it is, man. It's $1 billion organization. That's pennies to them. So the rent was $165,000. I think, and there's more to it than that as well. I think there's going to be 5 teams within 100 miles of each other having training camps, NFL teams. So I think you got the Cowboys, the Saints, the obviously the Raiders, and the Chargers. I believe the Chargers are they're actually usually in Costa Mesa. I think they're under contract until 2026. So they're still under contract, but their practice facility just got done. So like now they're breaking it in just like the Raiders broke it in with their facility. So they might just stay there. Who knows? But it's only a 1-year deal with the Raiders. But how do you feel about Raiders coming to your neck of the woods, bro?
Yeah, man, I like it, man. I'll probably be at training camp. To be honest with you, I'll probably take some time off, visit the Raiders training camp. One thing I don't like is the fact that don't be Tom Telesco's like, don't be taking those places where you took your ex. You feel me? Like, you know, like that's where the Chargers was at, bro. Like, don't be.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like,
that is true, because this is the first year the Raiders are going there. So, and he was the Chargers GM last year.
Yes.
You might got a point there. You got a point there. Like, hey, man. But I'm surprised they didn't go back to Napa. I don't know why. Like that was like that was their spot. Maybe Mark Davis is looking at chess moves, and he probably wants bigger and better. Because I feel like they're getting a lot. Because I don't know if the Napa was as good as what they're getting as far as like the facilities and just the area, and also to get away from that heat. That Las Vegas heat, like, it's crazy. Like, they got to do like early morning practices to the point where like it'll be 6 a.m. 80. I don't know, not 6 a.m. but like 6, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. like, and it's like 80, 90 degrees. That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, one thing I never understood about. I mean, maybe it's because of it's a space situation, but the Raiders have like that indoor facility. Like, I don't know, like, why ain't y'all utilizing this? Like, maybe before roster cut down, maybe it's you have too many players there, and it's not enough space inside that building. But they have like that indoor facility. So, I mean, like, make use of that, right? Yeah, y'all paid a whole bunch of money for this training facility. Like, I would make sure I'm getting every bit of value out of it as I can. And think about Napa. I think with Napa, they were practicing. It was like at a school, something like that. So it's like,
right.
This is an actual like sports complex. So it's going to offer a lot more than Napa. Even though, ironically, Brock Bowers is from Napa, and I think he went to the school that the Raiders
that's hella random.
Yeah,
I don't know
practice
why. This is so random.
Yeah.
Like,
even though he's a 49ers fan.
Oh, he grew up 49. Hey, but your boy Jaden Daniels is a 49ers
I
fan
know,
too.
man.
To keep it
Now,
real with you.
now he's not on the team.
Wait, hold
Now.
up. You're telling me
Forget Yank Daniels.
Severe is a 49ers fan?
Man.
Is that why he got the red hat? Oh, damn,
Hey,
bro.
man,
I think I exposed Severe. Y'all,
If you look
hey,
at the
man.
comment section, they'll think I'm a 49ers.
Hey, for sure, the chat is like, it all makes sense.
It's all adding up right now. Let me run to you, Severe.
Going all the way to the Raiders conspiracy documentary.
Man.
You know what I mean? We got a whole bunch of those for sure. Bunch of those. But that being said, look, that's gonna be big. It's gonna be an opportunity for Raider Nation to pull up. Are you gonna check it out possibly?
I'm gonna check it out, man. I'm gonna check it out for sure. I mean, it's the first time it's been close enough for me to really check out. So, I'm definitely gonna do it. It's probably I think it's like 30 some miles away from where I live. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
Definitely gonna check it out. Yeah,
Hey, man, do that. That'd be a cool little experience. And then also the Raiders deal also includes $600,000 for improvements to the fields at the complex, a donation of 100 tickets to an NFL preseason game in Southern California. So I guess they might be playing maybe possibly the Rams or something like that in preseason. Most likely they've been playing the Rams damn near every
year.
Yeah, like the last couple of years they've been playing them. So it might be the Rams again. $10,000 donation to a local youth sports team, and outdoor weight training equipment to Costa Mesa High School, and a Ford Transit van for recreation programs. So the Raiders are, the city's negotiated a deal.
Yeah, no, smooth deal, man.
Yeah, that's cool for them. But moving along, man. Hey, man, we've heard from a guy that we haven't heard from for a while. And Champ Kelly had a presser recently, and let me make this bigger. But yeah, man,
that's about how much we got out of the press. That's about how much we got.
Yeah, it was a couple. He was basically thanking everybody, and the support that he got. Obviously, everybody thought he was going to be the GM, but that didn't happen. But he ended up staying with the organization, which I ain't mad at. I like that. Kind of eases the transition for Telesco, and you got another guy in the building that's familiar with the roster, so it's not going to be a situation where the wrong guys get cut, or you know what I mean. There's going to be a voice of reason in there, probably talking to Telesco like, hey, this guy did this, this, and this, and this. You know what I mean? To give, it's there's always that transition year. When GMs, coaches, whatever, you see it all the time. New guys come in, they want to get their guys. They sometimes get rid of guys too soon, or the wrong guys because they're not familiar with them. They want to get their guys or whatever. But that being said, he pretty much was thanking Raider Nation, everybody, his family, all that for the support. But he also tackled a question going back to what we were talking about earlier, Terrian Arnold to the Raiders. And, the beat reporter asked him about, Terrian Arnold coming out and saying that, the Raiders called him, meaning AP called him and told him that it was out of both either him or Bowers. Obviously, Bowers was the pick. And Champ was like, no comment. No further comment at this time. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not, that's not exactly what he said, but that's what he said. Like he deflected the question. He didn't answer it. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that means that it's probably true, or he just didn't want to add to any drama or anything like that?
Yeah, usually, man, if it's usually in a situation like that, like if it's not true, it's usually in the team's best interest to just say no. Right. Like that's not how it happened. Anytime they kind of deflect, it kind of makes me think that the report is true. But it could be a situation where, hey, he doesn't want to make Terrian Arnold look like he's coming out there lying. But like you look at it, who has more incentive to lie in that situation? Does Terrian Arnold have incentive to just fabricate the story about Antonio Pierce calling him out of nowhere? Like what benefit does he get out of that? Or does Champ Kelly get more benefit out of not answering the question and hopefully, it just goes away? So if it's ever a situation where Terrian Arnold is some superstar and Brock Bowers doesn't live up to expectations, you won't point back to like, hey, well, they had a chance to Jeff Terrian Arnold, they almost did it, and they chose not to. So I think it's a situation where he's trying to just protect all parties involved.
Yeah, and his exact quote was, "Yeah, I can't confirm that at all." When asked about the Arnold's story, he said, "Yeah, I can't confirm that at all. Terrian's a good player. I'm excited to watch his career and watch him play, but we drafted Brock and we're excited to get him here." So, yeah, that was classic. Like,
that's Fed talk, man.
What did you think this was? You thought I was going to answer that question. That's how he answered. He was like, "You thought I was going to answer it?"
That's that Fed talk. I can neither confirm nor deny that story.
Right.
Like it's
right. But he also talked about like some of the players. Versatility was big on the Raiders roster. Obviously, Brock Bowers, he's a guy that he's quoted to say here he's a really good football player, was highly productive in college. His position is tight end, but we saw him as a playmaker and an offensive weapon. So they obviously they like the versatility of his game and be able to utilize him in different ways in the offense. And we'll see how it works out for the Raiders. Hopefully he's the next great tight end. He's that number one dude. If you got a guy at tight end that is, like look at Travis Kelce, man. Like he's just one of those guys year in, year out. Like Travis Kelce, he's a unicorn though. It's not a lot of Travis Kelce. I mean, Mark Andrews, I think he's in that top three. Like how consistent he is. He got hurt last year. Yeah. Who would you say after that is kind of like?
I mean, George Kittle. George Kittle's always up there.
Injuries, but yeah, when he's healthy,
George Kittle is always up there.
But
the thing about that is that, I think, and that's kind of who Brock Bowers kind of reminds me of is George Kittle. Nowhere near the blocker. I mean, George Kittle is a dog of a blocker, but I don't think he's that similar style of weapon, and I think it's all going to come down to how we utilize him. So hopefully. Kind of sticking on that theme of versatility, the Raiders move him around enough because you see what he did at Georgia. Like they put him in specific situations, and that's where he was successful. So if we're not using him correctly, like after year one, it could be like I put my benchmark out there, bro, 700 yards. You have to tight end at 13. You better be put up 700 yards, and especially the way these people in here talking about this man, like he's like Tony Gonzalez or somebody. Like I'm expecting you. Kyle Pitts put up 1,000 yards his first year in the league, and that was a guy who was considered a generational talent at the position. So if everybody's saying this dude is supposed to be that guy, then I need at least 700. You ain't putting up 700, bro. It's hey, I'm looking at you sideways.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It also depends on other factors too. It's just he plays a position where he's dependent. He's not independent. You know what I mean? It's not like he's an offense tackle where, hey, you put him somewhere, he's going to do his job, and it's going to automatically be an impact. He has to be able to, like, his game, especially the type of player he is, he's dependent on the quarterback. And also the offensive coordinator. Yeah. Yep, the offensive coordinator. Let's keep it real. Like, if Getsy doesn't get the job done on offense, with all these weapons, and he's not able to utilize them and take advantage of their strengths, that there's that too. I think it's and the quarterback play too as well. Like quarterback play can be really bad to the point where, man, like you're going to be missing guys wide open, missing opportunities, big plays, all that stuff. So there's that. He could be the guy, but If the offense is terrible, what you gonna do? Like, look, we had what, Devontae Adams, right?
He's supposed to make it not
the
terrible.
number one guy. What?
Everybody told him he's supposed to make it not terrible. That's why we got him. Oh, he's supposed to be this game changer on the offense. So I mean, like, bro, if you can't, if you can't make the impact you need to make on offense, and maybe we shouldn't have picked you. And
he is 21.
Because look, mark my words. If he doesn't do what all these people are saying he's supposed to do, they're not going to say, oh, dang, we were wrong. They're going to say it's Luke Getsy's fault. Or, oh, Aiden O'Connell wasn't as good as we said. Or, No, Gardner Minshew, that's what they're going to say. They're not going to say we were wrong about Brock Bowers' pick and Severe was right. That he needed to be in a specific situation to be successful. They're going to just blame it somebody else. Mark my words. Like I'm a bookmark this video.
Yeah, man. But we could talk about this all day about Brock Bowers and if he was the right pick. Time will tell. I'm hoping that he's going to be a great player for the Raiders. And the Raiders have
we all are.
an improved offense next year, and obviously defense. That's probably one of the most exciting things for next year that I'm looking forward to is the defense. Because man, I don't remember the last time we've had a great defense. I don't think I've seen that. I'm a fan of the Raiders, but I know I wasn't there back in the day, when they were winning Super Bowls and they have all these Hall of Famers on defense. You know what I'm saying? Like I was able to, fortunately I wasn't able to witness that. But that being said, Champ did also address other picks in the draft. He was asked about DJ Glaze and what he liked about him. And he just talks about like him playing 800 plus snaps at right tackle and then 800 plus snaps at left tackle the next season. So they like the versatility. Again, they like the versatility, the experience he has, and his ability to pass block. So they like him. You know what I mean? It's not one of them situations where they feel like, they reached, but they could be telling us exactly what needs to be said, so it doesn't look as bad. Who knows? But I hope DJ also works at our right tackle. I mean, we need it. Because Thayer Mumford, you can't say without a doubt like his that right side is up for grabs. But what are your thoughts, man, on what Kelly said about DJ Glaze and his versatility and pretty much like him as a player since basically the Senior Bowl, because he was out. I think he was at the Senior Bowl early in the process, so I'm sure they were able to take a good look at him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's lying. I mean, like you don't invest a third round pick in a guy if you don't feel exactly, what he's saying about him. If this was pre-draft, he said some BS like he played 800 snaps here, and I would be like, oh, bro, it sound like Antonio Pierce talking about Bo Nix. Like, man, it's 660. Like, what do you say about Bo Nix? Oh man, you see how many starts he has? But that man has a lot of starts. So so I think they legitimately feel that way. Versatility is always a plus, especially in the offensive line. Though ideally, you don't want to have to carry a whole bunch of offensive linemen on your active roster for game day. So the more versatile of a player you are, that allows you to kind of, hey, maybe you want to carry an extra wide receiver or carry an extra running back or an extra linebacker or a safety for special teams instead of having to have all these offensive linemen in case somebody gets hurt. So versatility is key there. Then, like you said, that right side is up for grabs, whether it be right tackle or we assume that Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be the right guard. So, but even in the future, if we slide him over to center or something happens to Andre James, he's maybe Delmar Glaze is a guy that can play right guard. So I think that's a plus. They talking about him as a pass blocker. He had one of the highest, according to PFF, one of the highest pass blocking grades. His level of competition wasn't the best, and he's not great in the run game. And that's and Antonio Pierce talked about wanting to be kind of a ground and pound team. So I think that may hurt his chances at starting on the right side.
Man, he's not a good run blocker. Usually you have the run blocker on the right side too. Usually that right tackle is a road grader. You know what I mean? Like at run blocking. You know what I'm saying? You would expect the starting right tackle to be able to run the ball on that side. So if he's not a good run blocker,
but the league is changing, man. It's more of a passing league now. So
that's true.
And
that's true.
You see Max Crosby for the most part lines up on the left side, so he's usually going against the right tackle. So I mean, it makes sense. You want a guy there anyway. Ideally, that'd be perfect if we had drafted Michael Penix. If we had opportunity.
You know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. Severe, you're right. Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of the best pass rushers are getting put on that side. So now teams are valuing maybe pass blocking a little bit more than they did in the past. Yeah. They can get away with a guy that's just a mauler and run blocking, but pass blocking he's not as consistent because he's probably going up against the second best pass rusher, like basically not the best pass rusher every down in and down out. So Yeah, man, that's a good point. That's a good point. But that being said, he talked about your guy, man, Laube, running back out of man. This dude is nice, man. Shifty, is fast.
Yeah.
I want to say he didn't run a fast 40, but like when you watch him play, like you could tell like he's able to make guys miss and get some chunk plays at times, especially a receiver out the backfield too, as well. So like he talked about his versatility as a receiver, obviously his ability to rush the ball, and then he also brought up special teams. Everything that we talked about that we liked, he brought up, and I understand and the thing is, like that new kickoff rule, a guy like Laube, like and he's your third down back. He might not even be on the field like that, to be honest with you.
True.
You know what I mean? If you think about like the guys that possibly might be in front of him, if he wins, do you think he has a good chance of not starting, but taking that third down back role year one?
I think it'll be tough just because I think they really like Amir Abdullah. Not only for what he does on the field, but just kind of some of the leadership he provides off the field as well. And he's good on special teams too. Coverage unit. So I don't know if he'll be able to take that spot, man. But he's definitely a guy that offers value. I've been talking about him for months. I think he's like the exact kind of back that's going to fit as like a third back. Guy can catch the ball. I mean, he had a game where he almost caught, against the best opponent he faced, almost put up 300 yards of receiving. Just receiving, like 295. He's he's very good in the return game as well. So, it would be ideally he would earn a spot because then we can kind of get off Amir Abdullah's contract and use that money elsewhere. But I don't know how Tom Telesco feels about Abdullah because he's a guy that was brought in by the previous regime. Even though we brought him back technically.
Yeah. And it's like you're not 100% sold on him being a consistent third down back. I mean, as a receiver, yeah. As a guy that's, shifty out the backfield, you know what I mean? Classic third down back. But as a pass protector, picking up blitzes, I'm not sure if he's that guy. And maybe that's why we have maybe some running backs on this roster like we do. Like that's what, like I don't know, like what do we have, like 6-7 running backs? I gotta look at the full breakdown of the depth chart on how many running backs we have. We still got your boy out of UCLA who we haven't even seen play a down because he's been hurt. But do you think there's a possibility? Nah, bro. I mean, I'm done. I'm kind of done with him at this point. He's been. We ain't seen him play. Dude's been in the league like 3 years. So you ain't touched the field yet. Like I'm cool. Or 2 years. 2 years, right? He's going into his third year. He ain't touched the field yet. I'm not worried. I ain't trying to see no sincere McCormick. Like these guys, you ain't play, bro. Like hey, appreciate your time. Time to move on. Laube is a guy who I think is better than both of those guys for what we need. I think the pass pro is going to be the big piece of it. How well will he hold up in the NFL in pass protection? I think that will kind of determine whether or not not only possibly making this roster, but getting meaningful playing time. So I got the running backs here. 6 running backs. Let's see if. Let me go ahead and try to share this real quickly here. So I'm going to share the screen and let's take a look here. All right, y'all can see that. Can you see it? Is it two?
Probably a little too small. Make it a little bit bigger. I think that's good right there.
All right, let's see. Man, hold on 1 second. All right. I guess that's gonna do.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you got Amir Abdullah, 1.
Yeah.
Not the number 1 running back, but that's 1. Brenton Brown, number 2, that's the second running back. 3, that's 2. Then Laube, 3. Alexander Madison, we just signed him this offseason, former Viking running back, possibly being that 1-2 combo with Zamir White if he comes in and plays well, which is a possibility because he fits this run scheme, zone blocking. So we're at 4. Sincere McCormick, that's 5. And then that's 6 was Zamir White. So, I mean, real quickly, sneak preview. What do you think the depth chart's going to be? Zamir is all right. Let's get that out the way. We know that.
Yeah, I think right now it's looking like Zamir, Madison, and Abdullah. Honestly, maybe we keep 4 and keep Laube. But I think those other guys are as good as gone. Ideally, I mean, I don't know what his guaranteed money is looking like for Madison.
Laube might stay there with 4, or I think he might take Amir Abdullah's job. Because they might look at it from this perspective. This perspective, they're like, Amir, he's not gonna block nobody. So we might as well go younger there and more explosive and more, a threat on the passing game and special teams. That's what I think. That's going to give him a big chance to make the roster. Is special teams.
Facts.
That's the game changer. Brent Brown, he got a Hail Mary.
Man, not even that. Not even that, man, to be honest with you. I mean, and this situation where I don't think anybody is going to pick up Britton Brown or Sincere McCormick off our practice squad. So if we really like them and want to keep them on the practice squad, like we can stash those guys on the practice squad. I think if you cut Laube, a team might, hey, you know what? This guy can return kicks. Okay, let's maybe we bring him in and take a look at him as if for nothing else as a kick returner.
Right.
So I think he is a little bit more danger trying to stash him than it would be trying to stash McCormick or trying to stash Brown. So
yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. That's Dylan Laube is definitely a guy to keep an eye on just to see how he does, because there's a chance. I think there's a good chance he's gonna make the roster, and might be the third down back too.
Yeah.
Because like I said, hey, Amir Abdullah is not going to be blocking anybody. And Dylan Laube, he's probably not going to be blocking anybody right now. Maybe at this point, let's just say he's a rookie and he has a lot to learn, and it's just going to be a growing pains. But like, do you go with a veteran where at this point you just know that's just not his game?
Yeah.
Or do you go with the rookie? I would go with the rookie. I'm just calling it right now. Dylan Laube, if it's down to Amir Abdullah or Dylan Laube, I'm going Laube. Without seeing it down. I gotta wait till preseason, man. I gotta wait till to at least minicamp, see how it starts off. But it is what it is.
Yeah, man, that's rough. That's rough, man. Because that's rough. I mean, I personally, like I said, I'm a fan favorite. It's my second favorite pick of the draft behind Jackson Powers Johnson. So I would love for him to make the team and make a contribution. I've been talking about him for a long time. So the fact that we actually drafted him, and I was excited about that. If he makes the team, makes a contribution, that would be awesome. But these guys, they love their veterans, man. Especially like those guys they consider leaders. If you're like a veteran and you're a leader, I mean, that's it's usually hard to take those guys roster spots.
Yeah. But also this week with the Raiders. Schedule release. It was supposed to happen like early on. We thought it was going to happen this Thursday, but it's actually been pushed to May 15th. And what the schedule release is going to be, we know the opponents already. So we know who the Raiders are going to play, but we just don't know when and where they're going to play. I think, or at least when. We don't know the actual dates of the game. So that matters in the NFL, especially if the Raiders have to take a long East Coast trip. And I forgot that one year it might have been with Gruden. We had like so many miles, probably the most. We traveled the most out of all teams as far as distance goes. So that takes a toll on a team, especially if you're going from one coast to the other. Like, it's just a competitive advantage for the other team because, hey, they're more tired. They're not as, explosive. They're not there doing their normal routines that they usually do when they're at home and, at their facilities. So, we'll see. Let's actually let's take a look at let me go ahead and pull up the actual just a list of the opponents. We don't know when they're going to play, but we'll just take a quick look at, see if you guys can see this. All right, cool, perfect. So as you can see, the Raiders 2024 opponents. Obviously, we're playing Broncos twice a year, KC, Chargers, yeah, but we're playing the Browns, the AFC North. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That is,
you know, if Deshaun's this version of Deshaun Watson is at QB, I'm not sure if that's going to get it done. I'm not scared of that. Until proven otherwise, because he hasn't come back to be the same player. So, yes. But they do have a good defense too, led by Myles Garrett. So that might be a tricky game. And then you got the Steelers. Arthur Smith at OC, so the better OC than they've had in the past. But Arthur Smith was the same guy that, you know, had Kyle Pitts, DJ London, talented running back they drafted in the first round.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, like one of the best young running backs in the league. Versatile, but wasn't able to make that happen. You know, he wasn't able to develop that QB. But we'll see what he does with your boy Justin Fields and you know, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson right now is penciled as a starter, but you never know.
Yeah, Justin Fields might start a kick returner. You never know.
You got Penix. Do we see Penix?
Man,
does Cousins come back from his injury? You know, depending on where let's say if it's like week 1 we play Falcons, or week 2 or whatever the case may be. Usually if it's a trip to Atlanta, they usually kind of group them around the same. Sometimes they put them around the same time of year where they. You know, they have all at like at one time. I remember that happened. I believe it was like we went to the Saints, the Miami Dolphins. We had a weird little road trip. But yeah, you got the Falcons, Panthers, so the AFC South.
Yeah.
AFC South, yeah, Derek Carr, the Derek Carr game right here.
Yeah, the NFC South. That's an away game.
Oh, damn, this is saying away too. Yeah. Oh man, I wish we played them in
in Vegas.
Man, that would be a crazy sight to see, man. I'm sure there's a lot of Derek Carr fans, but like hey man, Raider Nation, man, y'all, man, I ain't gonna lie, like you don't want to cross the nation. You don't want to cross them because they will like. Barbecue chicken, isn't that what Shaq says, bro? Like they will roast
barbecue chicken. Remember part of the reason why he left us is because, you know, we made his wife cry. So, you know, imagine already knowing that what we say affects them. Imagine the kind of stuff people will be saying. It would get bad, man. But it's very interesting opponents, man. Like the Panthers, automatically that's a game I'm interested in seeing Bryce Young. I know, you know, everybody, kind of some of the support that we get for Aiden O'Connell, everybody points out that, you know, he had a better season than Bryce Young, and he did without a doubt. So I'm interested to see how Bryce Young comes back in the second year. Baltimore Ravens, man, last time we played them, you know, we beat them in a very tough contested game. So Lamar Jackson,
better team back this time around, though.
Man, a completely different team.
So, not like, you know, I don't want us to go too much, and I know I kind of touched on some games, but I don't want to too much because once we get the full schedule, we'll be able to go game by game and just break down like you know, just an overview of like, hey man, what this game could look like at this time of year, and if we feel like it's going to be a win. So we'll have some fun with the schedule, at least when it happens on the 15th. But real quick, just looking at this, what would you say is probably the toughest game? If you just were to look at it just real quickly and just look at like the teams that they're playing this year. Obviously, we know the division games could be tough, so let's exclude them out of there. But as far as like NFC and AFC, so we're playing NFC North or AFC North and NFC South.
It was the toughest game, period.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Baltimore, but I think Miami as well, just because
the speed.
the Jalen Waddle and Giant Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I really don't think we have an adequate cornerback too. So I think that they can give us some issues there. So
I'm
those are
just
the
not
two that immediately stuck out.
for the Dolphins. I'm just not afraid of Tua at all.
Yeah,
I feel like if you rough him up, it's the same thing with Derek Carr. Like you beat him up, he's done.
yeah,
He's done. I don't know. I just look at it from that perspective. Because he's not a big guy. He's been hurt. But like I said, we'll be able to get into some of these games, and when the schedule releases, we just want to take a quick look at like some of the opponents. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and move along real quick. Get back to it, man. So all right, so we got the schedule released now, but it's that time. It's that time of the show, man. We talked about it in the beginning, but we wasn't playing around. We keeping it real, man. Comments of the week, man.
yes.
And let's get into it, man. Well, let's see what the people are talking about. Like I said, look, make sure to leave. If we're not able to get to the chat, we try our best to get to the chat. If we're not able to get to it, leave a comment, and and if it's a good comment, be respectful. It don't gotta be. You don't have to agree with us at all, and we'll try our best to put you on the show and read your comment and try to see if we can see where you're coming from or if we disagree or not. You know what I mean? If we disagree, we disagree, but we want to have that conversation. So let's go to the first one here. And it's my guy Biggie. It says, I wish we signed DJ Clark instead of Gallup. Michael Gallup, the receiver that we not drafted, but signed, former Cowboys receiver. Shark adds more size, speed, and actually had a better year as well. But of course, the Chargers signed Shark. Now, look, I replied to this comment. I'm like, hey, look, DJ Shark, on paper, it sounds good. On paper, it sounds good when you have a 6'3", 6'4" receiver that can run.
Yeah.
That can be a deep threat and that could potentially be a top receiver in the offense. But he's never developed into that to be that consistent guy, and part of the inconsistency comes from him being hurt.
Exactly.
Michael Gallup, obviously, he's coming back from an ACL injury that he had, but outside of that, I'm not sure if he's had a whole lot of injuries compared to DJ Shark. I feel like DJ Shark has been injured every year. Every year he's been in the league. I'm talking about like literally. I think it was that 1 year I was hoping that the Raiders were able to sign him. It might have been the year we might have gotten Devontae. It was that year where Zay
it was
Jones,
that offseason,
yeah. Zay Jones was a free agent, and he ended up getting a big contract with the Jaguars. And recently, Zay Jones was released by the Jaguars. So, good luck to him. But
going to New Orleans.
You think he's going to New Orleans? Hey, I heard Cowboys. He's from Texas, so I heard that the Cowboys might be interested. So we'll see about that. But it was that offseason where receivers that were average, because it was a weak free agent receiver class, they were getting paid. I'm talking Christian Kirk was getting paid. Zay Jones was getting paid. Remember that Jaguars? And just a few other receivers also got paid.
It was just Jaguars, bro. It's just the Jaguars getting people. It's the Jaguars.
Yeah, you know what? It was the Jaguars, man. Let's just call it how we see it, man. It was Jaguars' fault. Let's just blame everything on them because they literally increased the market. Because Christian Kirk and Zay Jones weren't the top players at their position, and they got paid. So that means off top, like automatically, receivers that are better than them are going to be like, oh, I need a raise.
Yeah, facts.
Give me that raise. But that being said, DJ Shark was the receiver in that draft, or not draft, but in that free agency class that year. And he ended up getting a 1-year deal with the Detroit Lions. 1 year, like $10 million deal. I remember I wanted the Raiders to get him. This is before we got Devontae Adams. So I was just looking for like some speed on offense. I like the size. I like maybe the possibility, the upside of maybe him developing with the Raiders. But that didn't happen. He goes to the Lions. He gets hurt. Out for the year. He was hurt. He was hurt last year as well for the Panthers.
Yeah.
So he's always been a guy that's and that was his thing too. That was his thing during the free agent class. The reason why certain teams didn't want to take that risk is because he's been hurt throughout his career. So that my thing is, hey, look, why take a guy that is is injury prone, and you can have a guy like Gallup who, for the most part, he'll be on the field, and he'll be the fourth receiver on the field too as well. And he's only going to demand. And I got to look at the contract. I'm not sure what the contract that Shark got with the Chargers. I think the Chargers were able to sign him away at this point of his career, where he's been hurt like almost every other year, if not every year.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see how much he got paid, but I think Gallup got a little less. And and he's I agree with the move. I like the move over a DJ Shark. I was like I said, I was a guy that I supported him in that free agency class, but in this instance, I think Gallup was the guy, and I think the big part of it was just injuries. So it's just one of those. That's just one of those deals. That being said, let's move it along. We got Resplendent Raider. I don't know if I'm reading that correctly. It's kind of small right there. All right, there you go. Resplendent Raider.
Resplendent Raider. That's fine.
We got the Severe Raider. We got the Resplendent Raider, man. We got all types of Raiders, man.
Only Raider we don't have right now is Big Mike Raider.
Big Mike, where you at, man? Nah, you on vacation, but
for sure.
But he says, but it's not about just trading back. So these comments are from our last show, by the way, y'all. Like, this is comments from our last show, me, Severe, and Big Mike, and we do it, like I said, we do this every week, and we'll take the best comments from our last show. And what this says is that he's talking about where we mentioned that there was a big possibility that there was a report that came out, and it was said that like the Raiders were a team. There are teams that were looking to trade up where the Raiders were at, and Brock Bowers was on the clock, was on the table, and as soon as he got drafted, those calls disappeared. Yeah. So that kind of tells you right there and then, like, Brock Bowers was a guy that the teams were trying to trade up for and draft.
Yeah.
Now he says, but it's not about just trading back. You have to account for that value at the original spot you were in. So I think we went on to say during the show that like Raiders could have really traded back.
Yeah.
And like they missed out on an opportunity to get some value for, that pick 13 going backwards and getting more picks. But at the same time, you're still getting a good player out of position. What are your thoughts on this comment? Him pointing out that the value matters too. How much you get back in the trade.
Yeah, man, I responded to this comment. But as I said before, I mean, teams know what the value from moving back to these X amount of draft spots, right? They know. They have there's the regular trade value chart, then there's the one that Jimmy Johnson created as well. So those two different like trade value charts that are out there for teams to use as a general framework, right? And a lot of variables go into that, whether that be the position that you're trading back for, if you need a quarterback, or what the other team would be trading up for, they need a quarterback that gets a little bit more expensive. If they're trading up for a quarterback, so on and so forth. So the thing is, this person is working under the assumption that the other teams weren't offering good value for the Raiders to trade back. And, I'm working under the assumption that though the value could have been there and that the Raiders just elected to take the player rather than take the trade back because, they liked the player more than moving back. And when you move back, there's always, the chance that the player you want isn't there. Ironically, we were very close, a coin flip away, according to Antonio Pierce, for drafting Terrian Arnold. So had we moved back, picked up some extra picks, we still would have had an opportunity to take Terrian Arnold, who was, if we are to believe what he says, and I don't think we have any reason to doubt him, I don't think he would lie about it, and to still take the guy who was essentially our number 2 on the board at that time. And I think back to the NBA draft, right? For anybody that's a basketball fan, there was a year. It's a year that Jason Tatum came out, and the like the number one prospect that year was a guy named Markelle Fultz. He went to the University of Washington. Then their number 2, player in that draft, kind of depended on who you like, what the team was, right? The Lakers had the number 2 pick that year, and Boston had the number 1 pick. But everybody knew the Lakers were going to take Lonzo Ball, but just because he played for UCLA. He was a big star, probably the biggest star in college that year. So Boston knew that they can trade back from the first spot, which where they were, to the 3 spot, and still get their number 1 player, who was Jason Tatum. Because they didn't need a point guard, and they knew that the Lakers and Philadelphia, who was trading up, they knew they needed point guards. They didn't need a point guard. So instead of taking the best player on the board at a position they didn't need, they elected to trade back and take who they valued more at a position that they did need, and it turned out to be, the best player so far out of those people. So sometimes there's value in trading back. You just have to know kind of where the board is going to fall between the places you moved. We could have moved back to 15. That's a very small amount to move. You only have to know what one team is going to do, basically, or one team is going to do behind you. And the other team was 19. That's a little bit more risky. But if we would trade it back either way, we still would have been able to get Terrian Arnold. Hindsight is 2020, I know, but that's still a possibility. Yes, that's out there.
But I think for him it was I think. And maybe I'm getting this wrong. Maybe Severe, you kind of. But I think what he's trying to say is the value that you get back in compensation. So like if you drop to like number 15, right? That's where the Colts were drafting, right? And the Colts and the Rams were looking to trade up, and the Rams were picking at pick 19 or around there. I think somewhere around there, right? And they offer you like 4th or 5th round picks, and you're like, wait a minute, like, you think that's worth it? Like, to get a couple of 4th, 5th round picks, dropping 2 spots down, or potentially 4, 5, 6 spots down. I'm just saying the value in the compensation matters, I think. Yeah. And if like Telesco was like, hey, this dude is the guy that we can easily draft this guy, and he'll be a game changer. But those 4th, 5th round picks, that's, you know what I mean? That's not going to do anything for us. And I get what you're saying. They were able to get Terrian Arnold, but I don't think they viewed Terrian Arnold. I think they viewed basically Bowers a better prospect than Terrian Arnold. And look, proof is in the pudding, man. They drafted him.
Man, that's what we drafted. I mean, like I said, if it was a coin flip away, then how much better? Like I said, if we're believing what Terrian Arnold says, right? Like I said, like, I don't think he has no reason. I don't think he has a reason to lie. But at this point, hindsight is 2020. We kind of don't know what would have happened. The Raiders didn't know what would have happened between the trade back. And all teams, like I said before, all teams have framework of what the value of moving from one position to another is. That's the starting point. And then they kind of, that's the start of the negotiations, and they go from there. So if they were lowballing us, I mean, we're working under the assumption that the teams were lowballing us. I'm working under the assumption that they weren't. We just valued the player over moving back.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good possibility as well. But let's move it along, man. We appreciate the comments. And this one right here, classic, man, says, I'm sorry, but I'm tired of this notion that we don't have a QB to get them the ball. We do now. They're top 10 QBs. I guess he's saying we know that they're not top 10 QBs. Are they top 10 QBs? No. But damn, don't act like AOC can't make no type of throws at all. Look at Brock Purdy. He ain't no top QB. He's a product of his team, meaning there's pieces around him, coaching staff, you name it, he got it. And that's all we need. And next year, there's going to be plenty of QBs to choose from. So I get what you're saying. You're saying that the Raiders can win with AOC and Minshew, and I think you're also saying that the team that is currently around AOC and Minshew, he has plenty of talent around him where he doesn't have to really carry the team. He has guys that can get open at a lot of different positions. Tight end. We just talked about Brock Bowers. If he's everything that the Raiders hope he is, that's a guy that can get open for sure. At different levels too. You got Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams. And, I'm not big on him. I'm not really big on him. But, when you hear Devontae Adams talk about him, Trey Tucker, you know what I'm saying? There's different options. And then you got to look at like some of the third down options. If Dylan Laube is a guy, we'll see. It's kind of too soon to say that he's going to be this factor, but hopefully he makes a team and it is an impact. And another guy I would say, Amir Abdullah Amir Abdullah might be the reason why Dylan Laube might be on the practice squad. We'll see. Zamir White looked good catching the ball out the backfield, and Zamir White, if he runs the ball the way we hope he does, you know what I mean. If he does it the same way he did when he last season at the end of the season, then we have nothing to worry about. We have nothing to worry about. Zamir White, that running game, if we're able to get that going, along with Alexander Madison, we're able to get that going. That's run game is a QB's best friend, right? You know what I mean? You could make an argument for that run game, tight end. We understand, like number one receiver. There's a quote for every position. If you got it, it's the quarterback best friend. So, and run game is one of them. Like if you give Minshew and AOC a run game, it makes it that much easier for them to be successful. So I understand that it can work, but I also understand the probability of them being successful is not high. It's not high.
Hater.
It's not.
It's just a hater.
And people are gonna call me a hater. Like I'm a hater because a fourth round rookie that was obviously in a situation last year where he had to come off the bench, while not taking most of the reps at QB. We all understand Jimmy G was the guy. Yada yada yada. We understand what the McDaniels. I get it, but you can't tell me that this dude has the upside to really, be that dude for the Raiders. Is it a possibility he can win? Yes. And I think that's what the main thing that he's trying to convey is that like we could win with them. Yeah. There is that like it's his second year in the league. He might be able to like play a little bit faster, get a little bit better, but obviously because he's still a young player. An older young player. I don't know. Is that a real thing? An older? He came out when he was like, 30 years old. I think he came out when he was 30.
He's man. The Bad Boys.
Hater.
From was it Bad Boys? Was it Bad Boys 3? Like brother, you look 30. Brother, you look 30. Like how old are you? 16. Brother, you look 30. Yeah, man. So first off, we're just working under the assumption that AOC is going to be the starter. There is a wide swath of the Raider Nation that thinks Gardner Minshew is going to beat them out. So that's first and foremost. And while I'm not high on Brock Purdy, just to even act like Aiden O'Connell is on Brock Purdy's level, man. That's Brock Purdy was an MVP candidate last year for much of the year. He completed like dang near 70% of his passes. 12-4 record, went to the Super Bowl. So while a lot of that has to do with the team that's around him, all of that isn't the team that's around him. I don't think if you put Aiden O'Connell in that situation, he duplicates that success. Basically, what I'm saying. Brock Purdy is also a guy that's a threat, with his legs. Not a guy that's going to run all the time, but he does threaten you with his legs as well. So, he has more arm talent than Aiden O'Connell. Just to be truthful, I mean, if our benchmark is a guy that act like he can't throw the ball at all. Well, like they're in the NFL. All these guys can throw the ball somewhat. It's
Right.
not about that. It's about throwing the ball efficiently.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, man.
So basically,
Yeah. Not to cut you off. I think I don't know if it was lagging a little bit, but that being said, I think AOC Minshew, they have a chance to just be if everybody's playing great around them, there is a possibility that the Raiders are going to be good. But you got to give a little bit. That offense is a work in progress. I understand we got pieces on offense, but do you guys remember how bad it was last year? Now going into this year, there's only one way to go up, man. There's only one way, and it's to go up, I think, for the offense. But that being said, we got Luke Getsy at OC, and it's kind of like that right there. You guys have to understand, like when you guys mentioned Brock Purdy, you got to combine it with Kyle Shanahan. You got to say Kyle Shanahan. Like don't say just don't just say Brock Purdy this and that. Say Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, because we got to respect the fact that Kyle Shanahan is one of the best offensive minds in football. So on top of the pieces they have on that team on offense, they have a guy at quarterback that could, obviously make plays, second reaction plays, but they also have an offensive coordinator that can call a game. And so do we have that in Getsy? I don't know. You know what I mean? And that's me being positive. It's me saying I don't know.
yeah, we don't know, man. That's a mystery. Sometimes you got to pop out and say
We don't know. We don't know, man. I don't know if Luke Getsy is gonna be that guy to OC. I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. That's one of those you gotta wait until the season starts, and then you gotta see it on Sundays. You gotta see if he's calling a game and getting guys involved, different players on offense. Is he gonna create an offense? Because I'm thinking, like, I'm sure he's like, hey man, I got two tight ends, two receivers, a back, 12 personnel. You know what I mean? Like that might be he might be able to make something out of that position group, because you got the talent that you have. Like I'm curious to see how creative he gets. Because if you got a guy like Brock Bowers, you got to be creative. You got to be creative because he's effective with the ball in his hands. So that's one thing too. Is he able to be creative? He did that. He did do that with the receiver that they got from the Panthers in the trade. Their number one wideout,
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. He was able to get the ball in his hands. I think DJ Moore probably had his best year as a pro.
He did.
Colt Kmet had his best year as a pro. You know. Did. And I know you're not big on Justin Fields, but Justin Fields probably had his best year as a pro, as far as like what he had a first. I think you mentioned this. Did he really get his first 300-yard game last year?
Yeah, he has two in his career. They were both last year.
So, and they're a running team. So maybe there's certain truth to what my guy is saying, Classic, man. I hope you're right. Because I ain't gonna lie. All I could think of is like, man, we could have got Penix.
Yeah, man.
We could have got Penix, and that's something that I forgot to mention. I don't know if you guys seen that report about Penix not being a trade-up candidate for the Raiders, which is interesting when we heard rumors that they were going to trade up to number 8. The guy that they were seriously considered trading up was for Jaden Daniels, and like Washington wasn't getting out number 2. Like they had their guy, and it was Jaden Daniels, so they weren't really going to trade up, but like. Penix was a guy that they considered at maybe 13, maybe trading back from what they said, and then also possibly maybe trading up to like, after he got by Atlanta. But take that for however you want to take it. I'm thinking about it because I'm like, damn, like we were so close to having, a more explosive option at quarterback. You know what I mean? A more exciting option at QB. But
man.
It is what it is, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. That wraps up comments of the week, man. So make sure, to hit up the comments after the show. Let us know your thoughts. If you agree with what we had to say, or not, just keep it respectful. That's all we ask, man. Just keep it respectful. We love to see opinions from all sides, whether it's some we agree with, some that we don't. Either way, it creates a conversation. Any last thoughts for Raider Nation, man?
Nah, man, just you know, a lot of people leave comments for me on your channel, bro. If y'all got something to say to me, man, I have a channel. Like it's you know, like you guys can come to my channel and if you want something like they'll be like, oh, they'll go to some like I'm sure Pharaoh's like, bro, like you tired of getting these messages saying my name. Like, bro, y'all can just come to my channel and just, you know, hey, y'all can big up Pharaoh and then just come talk trash on my channel. That's fine. Just make sure you leave him a comment complimenting what he's doing. Then you can come over here and we can have an interaction on my channel, and I know we can talk about what y'all
Hey
don't
man,
like.
this is severe. This is severe after reading the comments.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
bro, people be
Hey
mad as hell,
man,
bro.
that's something that we gotta address, man. They've been coming for severe. They've been coming for
All right,
severe.
man, pause on that one. Pause on that one.
Oh yeah, pause. Whew, man, no Diddy.
Drake.
Drake.
Man. But yeah, man. Like, yeah, man. I love it all, man. I love it. Hey, you know, this what we do it for, bro. This is what we do it for. Love having these conversations. Hey, whether we agree or disagree, we all want the same thing at the end of the day, and that's for, you know, Brock Bowers not to be our first. That's for the Raiders to be a good team, man. And so, you know, that's what it's all about. So everything I say is just, you know, for us for this team to be better than it's been. But like I said, man, if y'all want to have that interaction, bro, y'all can bring that noise to my channel and we can really talk about it.
Yeah, and make sure it's an opinion and not anything after that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no need for anything outside of I disagree,
Yeah.
and this is why.
Exactly.
You feel me? Like that's just keep it like that. Just keep it like that. Keep it respectful. And we'll have you on here, man. Comments of the week, man. You seen it. We went through it. You know what I mean? And we might go through more. And then also be on the lookout for a call-in show. You know, 50/50 show. Shout out 50/50 show. We might have it on there, or we'll figure out a time to do it. But yeah, we wanna hear from y'all. So we're gonna have a call-in show at some point. And yeah, man, like I said, I appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Man, I guess that's pretty much it, man. We done. We outro.
Pretty much it, man. All right, man.
gone.
Y'all stay up. See y'all next week.
Peace.
Return to the big.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.